Good afternoon. I will call to order the Public Utilities Commission meeting for Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. The first item on our agenda is our consent agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up is our Employee of the Month recognition.
Yes, Commissioners, Riley Redding is our Employee of the Month for May of 2025. Riley Redding has just completed the Northwest Line College Apprenticeship Program. So he is now a card-carrying journeyman lineman. He has a positive attitude and has studied on his own time. He is advanced in his skills as a lineman and is a valuable asset to the distribution team. So we want to congratulate Riley Redding.
I'll make the motion to recognize Riley Redding as Employee of the Month for May 2025.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Riley. Next up is our financial report.
So I think this is the meeting you guys were talking about that I think only Mary Ellen attended. Abdo presented the meeting, or Abdo presented the annual audit and the financial statements right before the council meeting last Tuesday, and City Council approved it with no issues. So.
Yeah, I believe, Mary Ann, you attended the meeting as well, right? With no concerns?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
All right, I'll take a motion on that.
I will make the motion to receive the annual financial report for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2024 for the New Ulm Public Utilities Commission.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now on to new business, the Southside Substation Relay Replacement Project.
Yeah, Commissioners, this is the continuation of an ongoing effort by the electric utility. We've already replaced all the electrical mechanicals in the Center Street, the North Side substation, and when we did the expansion in the South Side in 2016, they already have SELs. These would be the last distribution electromechanicals in the outlying substations to do. After this, there's only in the distribution system, there's some electrical mechanicals on the 13-2 bus in the power plant that we're deciding right now if we're going to replace the switchgear or just replace them relays and breakers. So with this project, this will be the end of the outlying ones, and we see the end of a very major effort to get all these done. So it's a good thing. With these relays, we will be able to record events, as I'm sure we've told you before. If we have an outage or something for so many cycles pre and post, the old electric mechanicals, all they did was trip a flag and say, yes, it failed, but these can tell us how big the fault current was and help us do some post-mortem on what happened to help hopefully avoid the problem in the future.
Yeah, very nice step forward from where they were, for sure.
Any other questions I can help with?
I don't think so.
I'll make the motion to authorize the city manager to accept the proposal from Power System Engineering Incorporated, PSE, to develop plans and specs, acquire and oversee the replacement of Bus 1 main and feeder electromechanical relays in the amount of $150,000 pending execution of a master consultant service contract.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion on this? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item under new business is our water treatment condition assessment report.
Yes, Commissioners, I'd like to welcome Chris Larson from Short, Elliott, and Henderson. Hendrickson, sorry. Yeah, he worked on this water treatment plant condition assessment. So he has a bit of a presentation to go over and kind of tell us where we're at. And then the action item would be just to receive the report as is. So, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners, members of the staff. Chris mentioned that my name's Chris Larson. I'm a water project manager with SEH, and I helped with the water condition assessment, or the water plant condition assessment. And it's a little misleading. We actually assess your water plant in 3 of your booster stations. So the scope of the work for this project was assessing the condition of the water treatment plant, the north side booster station, the south side booster station, and the Cottonwood booster station. We did a process, structural, architectural, mechanical, and electrical assessment. So the wells and storage were not included as part of this assessment. And we also considered potential future regulations as part of this. And the end result of this was to develop a capital improvements plan. And the picture on this slide is actually one of your drinking water filters. It would normally have water in it, but that's a picture of one of the sand filters at your water treatment plant. So your water treatment plant, it was constructed in 1994. The condition of the building is good. We did, and these lists are not meant to be all-inclusive. If you want a more all-inclusive list, I just included sort of the big picture, major items. But from a process upgrade standpoint, you should replace most of your filter function valves and actuators. They are close to being at the end of their life. The filter media is something that will need to be replaced certainly within 10 years, probably less than that, could be within the next 5 years. Another thing they identified was some spray wash piping and backwash tanks. From an electrical standpoint at the water plant, the motor control centers are original and need to be replaced in the relatively near future. And then there's also some other miscellaneous electrical upgrades at the water plant. Things like the VFDs for the high service pumps are fed from motor starters instead of breakers. Just some things that should be upgraded in the relatively near future. Mechanically, there are some HVAC upgrades. Those are a little less clear about how soon they need to be done, but probably in the next 10 years. And then architecturally, the plant's in pretty good shape, but it is 20-some years old, no, 30-some years old. And this needs to be, touched up a little bit. Your north side booster station was constructed in 1988, and sort of by definition, a booster station pumps from one zone into a higher pressure zone. This one pumps from the low zone to the high zone. The building itself is in good condition. Electrically, you need to replace the motor control centers, the load center, and transformer in the next couple of years. I think that's all original to 1988. Architecturally, there were some miscellaneous minor upgrades. Your south side booster station is your oldest booster station. It was constructed in 1977, so it's approaching 50 years old. It pumps from the ground storage reservoir in low zone to the high zone. The building is in fair condition. It is, like I said, approaching 50 years old, so there's some architectural things that could be upgraded. Electrically, again, replacing the motor control center, load center, and transformer in the next 3 years. Mechanically, you should replace some exhaust fans, unit heaters, and dampers. And architecturally, the coatings, door, and roof should be replaced in the relatively near future. Your Cottonwood booster station was constructed in 2007. I missed a word. It pumps from the low zone to the Cottonwood zone. The building's not really all that old, so it's in good condition. Electrically, there's a PLC in there that's original to that, so, PLC that's approaching 20 years is getting older. And then the motor control center, again, probably in the next 10 years. Mechanically, there's a condensing unit that could be replaced in the next 10 years. So some of the potential future regulations, I want to stress that these are sort of examples only. There's nothing that I identify here that you actually are in any imminent need or any imminent regulations of needing to upgrade or needing to consider treating. But something that's very topical and very, you hear a lot on the news right now is a substance called PFAS. It's used in like firefighting foam and some other things. It's fairly ubiquitous, actually, but it's they're what's referred to as forever chemicals. There is PFAS contamination sort of throughout Minnesota, significant, like in the East Metro and the Twin Cities. New Ulm does not have any PFAS concerns at this point. It's one of those things, though, if you identified it in the future, or whatever the future PFAS is, that seems like every 5 or 10 years we find some other class of chemicals and decide that we're going to treat that. The most cost-effective way to treat PFAS is some sort of adsorption technology. I list granular activated carbon here. But if you had to treat a chemical with granular activated carbon, you're probably looking at $15 to $20 million. Chloride is another example of something that has gotten some scrutiny in certain towns, depending on what body of water your wastewater treatment plant is discharging into. Chloride in wastewater typically comes from home softeners. When you regenerate your home softener, you regenerate with salt, and that salt ends up in the sewer and ends up at the wastewater plant. But certain wastewater treatment plants have chloride discharge limits. Again, I don't have any reason to think that because you're discharging into the Minnesota River, it's a big river, less of a concern than it would be if it was some small stream. But there's no real feasible way to remove chloride from wastewater. So if you're going to remove chloride, you have to do it on the drinking water side of it. So you soften your water at the water treatment plant so people don't need home softeners. But we price this, if you said, okay, if you built a reverse osmosis softening plant at the treatment plant, you're probably looking at something like $40 to $50 million. One thing to consider with an alternative like that is that with RO, you are creating pure water. You're removing virtually any contaminant. There are certain organics and stuff that can get through RO, but so that same cost would, remove a whole suite of contaminants. So finally, what sort of the purpose of this report was to prepare a capital improvements plan. So there's a table, this is in the executive summary, but a table that goes through and talks about projects that should be done. It gives an approximate time frame and a cost. We have them numbered more in class of projects and time frames, but I mentioned the filter function valves and actuators. That's one that's fairly pressing, that it's one of those things where if a filter function valve fails, at a minimum, you'd have to isolate that filter and shut down a filter. If it failed, it would likely be fixed under some sort of emergency repair, which is more expensive and that sort of thing. There are some sort of an assortment of other process projects. The filter function valves is, while not a major project, it is, it's $1 million. So, and you're replacing like 30 valves or something along those lines. I mentioned there's a handful of sort of odds and ends process projects. Another one, the item 3, was replacing spray wash piping in the backwash tanks. Again, it's one of those things where we went into your backwash tanks, the brackets holding the spray wash pipes have failed, or some of it. So it's not an emergency, but it should be repaired or replaced at some point here in the future. There are some electrical projects I mentioned at the water plant and at the booster stations. Again, because you're an electric utility, you understand that if the motor control center fails, you're not running pumps. You're likely replacing things under some sort of emergency basis. But all told, that the the projects that we identified over the next 20 years or so is about $5 million worth of projects. I would consider that, most of your stuff's in good condition, it's been taken care of properly, and that these things really just represent just upgrades that need to be done because the time has come to do them. So with that, I ask if you have any questions.
I think you just mentioned it there, but that's all pretty much based on life expectancy
Yeah.
of those particular items that need replacement.
Yeah, nothing that's surprising and nothing that's not just, certain things last 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. And
Any of the replacement parts obsoleted at this point?
I think some of the electrical stuff is likely, getting, it doesn't mean, a lot of the stuff, if it's service entrance stuff or, you can get replacement things, but electrically that, some of it's relatively old and would be getting obsolete. But I think some of the stuff like your computer systems and SCADA and that sort of stuff has been replaced and upgraded relatively recently, so.
So the next steps would be budget for future projects to address those concerns.
Yep, exactly.
Based on priority order.
This is similar to what we've done in some of the other departments with bringing these reports to you, so
Sure.
that as a commission, you kind of have a roadmap as to what we're looking at down the line. So, yeah, you'll see these, it could be that a couple of them might be put together and it could end up in a bonded project with something else.
Sure.
So, but, yeah, these will be, you'll start seeing these in our capital plans.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
To receive and order filed the water plant condition assessment report and presentation from Chris Larson of Short, Elliott, and Hendrickson Incorporated.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 3.3, replace ground floor hallway flooring.
Yeah, this is just a small item, small capital item, just bringing to you for your information. But we received 2 quotes to replace the hallway flooring in the administration building. So,
I'll make the motion to receive and order file the quote from Design Home Center for replacement of the ground floor hallway flooring in the amount of $5,185.46.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. The last item is our report of claims.
I'll make the motion to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $2,889,296.93.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, do we have any additional comments from our commissioners at this time? Then we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.